Remember last time I talked about how this set of exercises, is divided into 3 segments. The first segment being loosening up, particularly in this case, the upper body. The second segment is generating qi in the upper torso. And the third segment is releasing that qi, leading it out across the shoulders and down the arms. Now, a little bit of background as to the energy structure here of particularly the lung organs, but also the heart, as well as the upper chest. So the energy channels, along which your vital energy, your qi flows, if you may be familiar with maybe acupuncture, these channels have spots along them where your acupuncturist will put the needle and try to adjust your energy. But along those channels, the energy flows from lungs. So lung channel is starting about right here. Now the lung channels are bilateral. So you've got one on the right side and one on the left side. Okay. So channel runs from here down the thumb side of your inner arm. And that's the lung channel. Traditional Chinese medicine also regards the pericardium, the sac that surrounds your heart, regards that as an important, well, they call it an organ, but anyway, an important mechanism or structure within your body, and it has a channel for its energy that goes down the middle of the inside of the arm and out the middle finger. And then finally, the heart channel runs from the center of your armpit down the inside of the inner arm on the little finger side and down into the little finger, tip of the little finger. So in the Qigong for the autumn season and in the Qigong for prevention of breast cancer, we try to get the energy moving and flowing by relaxing the arms and shoulders so these channels are not inhibited by tight muscles or stiff joints, by building up energy in the chest area. And this also not just affects the lungs, but will affect the heart as well, because the lungs and heart are closely located together and they function together. So it also benefits the heart and benefits the tissues in the chest area. So for the breast cancer prevention, that's the link. So we try to get the arms and shoulders relaxed. We try to get, in the first segment of the exercise set, second segment, we build up the energy in the area of lungs, heart, and chest as well. And in the third segment, we release that energy to clear out any qi blockages along the path of the energy as it goes out the different channels. So, starting off with trying to relax the shoulders, we swing arms. Now in Qigong, we usually coordinate the movements with the breathing, but swinging arms is just too fast to integrate with deep, slow breathing. I mean, you don't want to go inhale, exhale, inhale. That's just too slow. So we breathe normally, although return to childhood breathing. using the abdomen, but we're not coordinating each swing with an inhalation and exhalation. And now we'll vary the angle of the swinging of the arms out to the sides, like this. Now a little twist, literally, that we add to help with the breast cancer prevention is to turn the little finger up and the thumb down as we extend the arms to the side, and then reverse it as we come back. So this is a twist here, and can you feel when you twist the little finger and thumb here, can you feel what it does in this area right here? It tenses the muscle and then relaxes it. Tenses and relaxes. So this helps get the energy moving in this area where this muscle is, helping to promote the chi flow. And when the chi flow is smooth and unblocked, then things go right with bodily functions like cell reproduction. But when energy is trapped and can't flow easily, then cell reproduction tends to go wrong and cells mutate. And this starts things like tumors and other roots of illnesses. So we add this particular angle of swinging the arms, twisting the thumb and little finger to help with the breast cancer prevention. And then we go back to swinging the arms forward and backward, very relaxed. You can get more bang for your buck, so to speak, with this exercise if you add lifting the legs. Now, I mentioned gentlemen because this is very good for prevention of prostate cancer, but also good, of course, for leg strength, balance, and for the inguinal lymph nodes in the hip area and for your hips. So it's good for everybody. And I told you before, exception to the normal rule of Qigong, where we coordinate with breathing. Also an exception in this case for this one particular exercise, that our mind doesn't have to be focused on the exercise. So I can watch the Zoom screen, and you're watching me, but when you were doing this exercise at home by yourself, you can watch TV or talk on the phone. Your mind does not have to be focused on this exercise. And this exercise can be done alone. You don't have to do the full routine. It's very beneficial by itself. Now, for the leg lift, after a few minutes of lifting with the knees straight ahead, then we will pinch across like this to help create the energy flow in the lower abdomen. That is. And for the sake of balance, I'm returning to this angle where we move the arms out to the side and twisting thumb and little finger. Okay. And then finally we conclude by moving the knees out to the side instead of across like we were just doing, out to the side. We do a minute or so with this exercise. So for men, very good for helping to prevent prostate cancer. For everybody, very good on balance, leg strength, flexibility of hips, and all the other things we have down here in the lower torso. Okay, so that's the first movement. Now, the next movement we have is called windlass turns. And the windlass is kind of something that's obsolete in modern era. It's a crank, like you would find on a well. But I don't know if any of us has ever cranked a bucket up and down to get water out of a well. You could also liken it to the old system of starting a car where you plugged a crank into a joint down here at the on the engine and crank like this. But I don't think any of us have done that either. So windlass is just making these circles. We form our hands in the shape of letter C, and if you feel your energy, you may notice buildup of energy between the index finger and the thumb. But if you don't notice that, don't worry about it. It'll eventually come as you become more sensitive in your Qigong training to the presence and movement of your Qi. Now we have two patterns for windlass circles, windlass turns. One pattern is the cooling pattern, and the other pattern is the energizing pattern. So depending on the temperature of the outside environment, in summer, we would want to do the energizing pattern first and the cooling pattern last, to end with the body cooled down, because summer temperatures usually warm. In the winter, or when we get into the cold weather of fall, we do just the opposite. We start with the cooling pattern and then end with the energizing pattern. Now, why do I mention this in regard to summer? Because when you come to the point in the series, in the future series, when we do summer Qigong, you're going to see that the summer Qigong for the heart is very similar to the Qigong for the autumn season and the lungs. So, starting with the cooling pattern and then switching to the energizing pattern, because, well, at least where I am, or we are here in Northern Virginia, it's a fall day and it's kind of cool. So inhale with the shoulders back. Exhale with the shoulders forward. So inhale, return to childhood breathing. Exhale. In, out, in, out, in, out, in, out. One more. In, out. All right. Now, we're going to switch and do the energizing pattern. So the energizing pattern is inhale with the shoulders forward. In. We're going to change the direction of rotation. Out. In. Out. In. Out. In. Out. In. Out. In. Out. And one more. In. Out. So that is windlass turns. And we did about 6 in each direction. So with this routine, you don't need to do a lot of repetitions. 6 to 12 is sufficient. So the routine will not take extremely large amount of time when you're doing it on your own. It's taking a lot of time now because I'm teaching it. So, but when you have the exercises in your mind and fairly well memorized, it'll take probably 20 minutes, 25 minutes to do the routine. Once a day would be great, particularly in fall season. But 2 or 3 times a week would be good. Once in a while, I wouldn't expect great results, okay? So every other day, every third day during the fall, and the build up to the fall season, which is the about 6 weeks before fall actually starts. I mean, according to the calendar starts. And that's the 21st of September or thereabouts. And so you start these in August. Now, when last turns, and now we come to the qi generating phase, where we have loosened up the shoulders and chest and the arms. Now we're going to generate qi in the chest. And the movement we're going to start with is the feudal lord pulls the bow. So with the hands held like this, and see my upper arm kind of parallel to the floor, and the lower arm is straight up perpendicular. So this first pattern here, inhale, clench the fists, hold the position, exhale. Inhale. Exhale, return to the starting position, unclench the fists, and you might be able to feel the energy flowing back into your fingers as you exhale. Now, along this medical Qigong series, we'll be introducing the 6 healing sounds, the basic 6 healing sounds, and later on, I think level 2, we have a more complex routine with the healing sounds. But we can add the healing sound for lungs into this routine to help with the release of energy. So as we exhale and unclench the fists, we can make the healing sound, which is like air leaking from a balloon. So make the healing sound softly. I will make it louder than it should be made to remind you to make the healing sound. But you can make it very softly. So you don't want to tense up the vocal cords by making the sound too loudly. And when we have this proper level of the sound, the Chinese call this sound of no sound, which is very soft. Okay, so healing sound. So in, clench the fists, stretch the chest back. Out, hold the position. In, out and sound. In, out. In, out and sound. In, out, in, out and sound. One more. In, out, in, out and sound. Now, we're going to add turning to each side. Now, if you can put your mind, try to feel what's happening in your lungs. As we turn to the side, you might notice the feeling of where the air is going in your lungs. If you don't, that's fine. over the course of your Qigong training, you will develop greater sensitivity to the presence and movement of your internal energy. So, turning to the side, in, hold the position, out, in, out, come back to center, and healing sound. Turning to the other side, in, out, in, come back to the front, out, and sound. Let's do that one more round. In, out, in, back to the front, out, and sound. In, out, in, back to the front, out, and sound. Okay. Now, because we're working with the lungs, we have a couple of more different positions to work on. And again, if you can feel what's happening in your lungs, you'll hopefully understand why the different positions. Did you notice when you turn to the side, air goes into this side, the side I'm turning to, because it's the one that's relaxed. This side is stretched, and the lung is not as free to expand as it is on this side. So now, we lift the elbows up, and where does the air go? So, inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale, and sound. In, out, in, out, and sound. In, out, in, out, and sound. Did you feel the air go into the top of the lungs? That's because in this position, the bottoms of the lungs are more compressed by the pulling up of the muscles down here. The top of the lungs are more relaxed. I want to be sure and get through the whole routine. You can also turn this to the side, but we'll save that for next time, hopefully, when we're a little bit more familiar with the routine, and I don't have as much information to give you. Hopefully, you already have it. And of course, everybody should have the document on the autumn season Qigong. If you don't have it, email me and I'll send it to you. But you should have that. It's got all the instructions in it. Okay, so that was elbows up. Now elbows down. So, in, out, in, out, and sound. Where is the air going? In, out, in, out, and sound. In, out, in, out, and sound. Okay. Down here, the air is going to go into the lower part of the lungs because the top is being compressed a bit by the pulling down of these muscles. The bottom of the lungs is more relaxed. You can also turn this one to the side, so that'll work. The bottom, I'm turning to this side, it'll work. The bottom and that side of this lung, okay? And then the other side. I can't say right or left because I think we're mirror image on the screen. So, okay. So that is feudal lord pulls the bow. You may feel your lungs kind of energized or tingling or feeling clean and air. And that's what this routine is designed to do. So, next exercise. Again, we're still in the of the set where we're generating energy in the chest. And this is push the palm and sink the wrist. No, that's well, we'll push the palm and sink the wrist. Well, I think about the name. Yes. So, Immortal pushes the stone tablet. Thank you. So, if we extend one hand forward, we're going to imagine we're pushing against slight resistance. Well, as though there were a stone tablet on a high table and we were pushing it. And we're going to turn the head and look down past the elbow. Notice when we turn the head, we tense the muscles here on this side of the neck. And can you feel what's happening underneath the rib cage when we tense those muscles? Can you feel down here? So down here, tense, relaxed, tense. By tensing and relaxing the muscle. So very important to remember to turn and look down past the elbow. Breathing pattern. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale and make the healing sound. S-I. Now the other side. In. Imagine your hand, front hand is pushing against slight resistance. Out. In. Out and sound. In. Out. In. Out and sound. In. Out. In, out, and sound. In. In. Out. In. Out and sound. In. And I think we started on the other side, so let's do this side one time. Out, in, out, and sound. Whoops, trying to get centered. So the immortal pushes the stone tablet, or now, other generation exercise. This is called large rock arcs its wings. So a rock is actually like a phoenix in that it is a mythical bird from Chinese folk culture. So what we're going to do is inhale, exhale. Hold the position, inhale. Exhale. Inhale, bring the hands back in. Exhale and sound, lower the hands back down. In, out. Try to keep your shoulders down. In, out. In, out. In, out, in, out, and sound. Okay. Now, like the feudal lord pulls the bow, we have positions for this. So, if we lock our fingers together, like, and do the, you can feel what happens to the airflow in the lungs, okay? In, out, in, out, in, out, and sound. In, out, out, in, out, and sound. In, out, in, out, in, out, and sound. Did you feel the air flow into the inside of the lungs? Now, another position is with the hands angled about 45 degrees from center. So basically you've got a right angle, 90-degree angle right here, formed by your arms, and palms facing outward, thumbs down, shoulders relaxed. So in, out. Where does the air go? In, out. In, out, and sound. In, out. In, out. In, out, and sound. In, out, in, out, in, out, and sound. Okay, in this position, the air goes to the outside of the lungs and in the front. So I could feel air here and in here in the front. So all these different positions in the feudal lord pulls the bow, and in the large rock arcs its wings, are designed to move the air in different parts of the lungs, so the lungs get a thorough air. Now, there is one more Qi generation, but I need to lead you in the cool down exercises because we don't want to skip any segment of this routine. So pressed for time as I am right now because we got kind of a late start and takes to give you the information in the teaching mode. If you're going to cut out any of the exercises, don't eliminate a whole segment. Don't eliminate the warm up and the loosening up. Don't eliminate the Qi generation segment, and don't eliminate the Qi release segment. Just cut maybe one or two exercises from Qi generation because that has the most exercises. But all three segments of this routine are important. So now we build up the Qi. You may feel tingling, energy in the chest built up. We want to lead it out. We want to help clear the channels that I mentioned at the beginning of the program that run out the shoulder, out across the shoulders and down the inside of the arm. So, first one is the white crane loosens its wing, and it goes like this: in, out, and you can make the sound. In, out, in, out, in, out, in, out, in, out. Now notice that keeping my hands very low, I'm doing this in a very relaxed manner. Sometimes you might see this exercise done like this, okay? Body as in a warm-up for other exercises. In this case, we want to release the chi, lead it out. We want to keep the shoulders relaxed. If we raise the hands up here, the shoulder muscles will tighten. We don't want that. So here, very relaxed, very relaxed. So that's the white crane loosens its wings. And then we have baby bird begs for food. It's also very relaxed. And so we place the hands like this with the back of the hands facing each other. In, out, and sound. In, out. In, out. In, out. In, out, in, out. One more. In, out. Can you feel energy running into your fingertips when you lower the hands and make the healing sound? If you can't now, you will be as you continue your Qigong training. You become more sensitive to your energy. Your mind connects more closely with your body. Second thing that happens to make it easier for you to feel your internal energy is by doing the Qigong exercises, you build up your internal energy. So there's actually stronger sensation to feel. All right, last cool down exercise. Got a microphone issue here. We're going to lead the chi out the lung channel, because this is Qigong for the autumn season and the lungs. We're going to lead the chi down the lung channel. How are we going to do that? We're going to use the abundant energy that is in this gate in the center of the palm called Lao Gong, labor palace, because your hands do a lot of work, labor palace. So it's pericardium point 8. So this one, the energy, this is like Faraday's law of magnetic induction, where the magnetic field in one thing stimulates the flow of electrical energy in another thing. So bioelectricity is what we're dealing with. So with the mind underneath the palm, we're going to do this releasing massage pattern, which is in the outside, down the outside, in the bottom, up the center, and out the top. So down the outside, in the bottom, up the center, out the top. Mind underneath the palm. And we massage like this. We'll maybe do 4, 5, 6 circles. And then we're going to go out the top and across the shoulder. And centering the Lao Gong gate on the lung channel, thumb side of the inner arm, we're going to go down the lung channel and just imagine we're expelling all stale energy out the end of the thumb, the end of the lung channel. So again, one more, another round of massage. So down the outside, in the bottom, up the center, out to the top. Down the outside, in the bottom, up the center, out the top. And we do 3, 4, mind under the palm. And then out the top, across the shoulder, down the thumb side of the inner arm. And one more. So down the outside, in the bottom, up the center, out the top. Mind under the palm. So the breathing coordination, the one thing we want to do is exhale when we do this. So the circles may be too quick to say in, out with the breath, but prepare as you go across the shoulder to exhale. That exhalation aids the release of the energy down the lung channel. Now the other side. So same pattern, down the outside, in the bottom, up the center, across the top. Mind under the palm. You notice this is not, I can't say clockwise, counterclockwise. It's down the outside, in the bottom, up the center, across the top. And then across the top and down the thumb side of the inner arm. Expelling all the stale energy, other bad things. Down the outside, in the bottom, up the center, across the top. Mind underneath the palm. And then across the top, down the thumb side of the inner arm. And then one more time. So down the outside, in the bottom, up the center, across the top. And across the top, out the shoulder, and down. Okay? So that's the releasing part. Now you may feel in your hands, it may be a heavy feeling or a magnetic feeling. That's normal. That's the fact that we've let a lot of energy, we built up a lot of energy in the chest and we've let it out through the hands, particularly the lung channel. Now, another thing for the lungs is stay hydrated. And I find it takes an amazing amount of water for me to stay hydrated. I have to drink an amazing amount of water, but it's worth it because you keep your lung tissues and the tissues of your upper respiratory system, the mucous membranes, moist, and they're better able to resist the penetration of viruses. They're better able to prevent the virus from taking root and to fight it if it does take root. So hydration, very important. Because why? Because the air in the autumn dries out. So at least in this part of the world, it dries out. I don't know if you're in the desert someplace, if it's dry all the time, but here it goes from very moist in the summer to dry in the fall. That also leads to itching skin in some places, and it's got, well, I was going to say it has no relation to the lungs, but actually the lungs govern the skin. In Chinese medicine, the lungs are connected to the skin. So you say, okay, dry skin in the fall. Yeah, well, it's connected to the fact that the drier air is also affecting the lungs. Okay, let me see if we can have any questions.